So at this point, you should have a creative brief, or if you're just following along, we have a creative brief. We got all the information that we need. There's a bunch of keywords. There's a bunch of information the owners told us about, a bunch of information about what the users think of the app, how they interact with the app, the product, the service. And now we're just going to define the problem just a bit further, because we have all this information, just as if this is a math problem. We have every single component, but we don't need every single component, right? We don't need the financials, we don't need the backend, we don't need to know what the developer thinks about how he's going to code this app, right? All the irrelevant information should go away, and we should just strip it down to the most important part, and almost start writing down the keywords and pretty much just the most important aspects. Because those most important aspects we're going to break down even further, and we're going to use it to start searching for imagery, inspiration, and start thinking about how we can use those different keywords, how we can combine them together, create a composition, and ultimately create a logo. So let's go through the creator brief and let's find important stuff that we can use in our research phase. So what does the company do? Ski World is a new application for users to keep track of their favorite slopes, monitor the best areas to ski in, and have a passionate community to interact with. The application lives inside the Ski World website, and the apps function on a web-based platform. Right, so not much interesting happening here. Very brief description, nothing too specific. The entire application is driven on real-world data that is scrapped from ski resorts in your area. So that's starting to get a little bit interesting. So I'm going to take the real-world data, because this is a very important aspect of the company, because it's kind of giving us... Oh, orange is not a good color in this case. Let's see if we can do red, and we'll bold it. Alright, so real world data, showing us that there's a lot of statistics, math going back in the back end, and that this is a very almost trustworthy company. There's a lot of locations going on, there's a lot of information being scrapped, filtered, filled, and pushed to the user. So, interesting data point, something that we might be able to work with. So scrap from ski resorts and an area. Users are able to visualize their entire area, so I think that's also pretty important. Let's see if we can get the right color and bold it. Are given the data they are most interested in when choosing a place to ski. Company name and importance of its origin. The company's name is Ski World. When the co-founders were traveling abroad, they were met with an obstacle of browsing each ski lodge separately to find their prices, conditions, and availability. I think that's pretty important too. But I think that's less important for the actual logo design and more important for maybe the icon design or additional assets, but I think it's still pretty important. When they're going through booking sites, relevant interests to them. The name originated from the idea of all ski lodges in the world could be uniformly tracked in one simple application. So if they have any slogan, and the product slogan is explore the best, and I think exploration is going to be a pretty key factor in this logo design. We want users to know that we are curating the information that they value and offering them the service that they need. So we're going to highlight ideal location as well. And you can almost see how I'm slowly developing these keywords, even though these two colors are completely different. They're keywords, so we can start searching for exploration and location. So there's a lot of words again for informed decision again, but I think it's a bit hard to make a logo from. We can use logos and slogans to encourage our teams to focus on shipping products that offer the best solution, regardless of the intensity. Their strengths in this case is that they're going to be notified, so that's also pretty important. So we can see if there's any notification icons or some kind of stereotypical image that we can infuse into the logo to show that there is notifications or data being pushed to the user. But again, we mentioned that before in real world data. Similar scrapping data services. There's not much here. What do they value as a company? And again, here's the informed decisions part. I'm just going to highlight that and bold it. They want users to discover amazing locations based on their interests. So discover amazing locations is pretty important as well. And always be notified when an opportunity arises for them to travel at the perfect time. So again, there's a lot of mention about users discovering the perfect location. And we didn't get a lot in here about that. We just got when it's met on criteria, but in the user's point of view, this is the perfect getaway. The company's existence is important because of an uninformed decision can lead to risk, but we don't want to showcase that in the logo. No, no, no. What are we designing and why? Comprehensive brand package. Some of this isn't very applicable to logo design. With the current product, it's going to be discoverable word of mouth, so we're going to have to make sure that this logo has an icon component and a text component, and that each component can function separately and together. So this logo is also going to be used for professionals looking to practice, novice seeking recreational activities, and travelers who want to explore different slopes. And this is also pretty important because this one sentence shows that we can't make a logo that's going to be for a specific niche, right? If we make a logo, let's say with a compass, then that's going to show that we're showcasing the logo and our service to be more for explorers. But then we are just neglecting professionals who are just looking for a place to practice, right? And we don't want to exclude anyone. We want to make sure that this logo is open for our entire user base. So having these three categories of demographics separated is a pretty important thing. So again, amazing locations. We can just highlight that again. Without endlessly having to search forums. Why do users come back to your products? And in this case, it's because they don't have to fill out the same information again and again and that they're notified. So again, that's a pretty important thing. So information, location, and preferences. And I'm almost seeing a pattern here. In the entire Ski World thing, we're either jumping from perfect locations for the user, and then we're also jumping from that the user doesn't have to do much work to find the next location and the next location, right? So there's a lot of data-driven events happening in the backend. So those are two very prominent things that I'm seeing over and over again, just rephrased. So the users will interact with this product on any mobile device or desktop site. So the logo can't be very small or hard to read. Has to be very bold shapes. And I'm just going to highlight this entire thing. Forgot to add a color to it and bold it. How will users benefit from this implementation? So it has to be very consistent. And this is a very important blurb as well. How the user describes a product is as important as how a CEO describes a product. Because if a user is describing the product where, oh, this is a perfect condition to go skiing at a horseshoe resort, anyone want to go carpool there, then that's again showing some very important keywords that we can just research. We can search for locations now, any location logos, any location type of imagery, pins, for example. Pins would actually be a great idea in this case. And it's ultimately going to help us find the best solution for the client. So just by doing this little exercise, going through the creator brief and highlighting the most important components, we can start actually creating all these keywords. And we're identifying what the client values, and the client values the user experience. The client values that they can offer these types of filters to search through each type of different mountain and slopes and conditions and weather, and that the user values it because they don't have to do this every single time. They're notified, and they get to go to these amazing locations without having to put out much effort each time they want to do something. So now we know what both sides value. We know what both parties are looking for. The audience has these specific values. The CEO is looking for a more unified brand to showcase these types of services that they offer. And now we're going to delve into the research. We have pretty much all we need. We gathered the information. We've pretty much asked all the right questions. Nothing I see that we missed out on. And now we're just going to start diving into searching for inspiration, imagery, and different compositions we can experiment with. So I'll see you in the next lesson for that.